We're not entirely sure why sleep is disrupted. There are many different reasons. The most common reasons are there are certain areas of the brain that seem to have a very integral and very important role in sleep regulation. There are areas called the pons and deep areas within the brain that, like the pons, when they're injured, they can disrupt that regulation system. There's also another area called the ascending reticular activating system, which actually starts very, very deep in parts of the brain stem, and projects up through the entire brain. And with injury, as traumatic brain injury will cause injury to many parts of the brain, it also injures this ascending tract, which actually results in a disruption of sleep. We do know that sleep is interrupted in both the rapid eye movement, the dream cycles, but also in the very deep restorative periods of sleep. That's why it's very important that we maintain good sleep, which results in a very important recovery period and restorative period in the patient's day.
Well, first and foremost is to address the environmental things that may interfere with sleep. So very commonly in a hospital setting, that would be things like how many times in the middle of the night someone goes into the room, whether the lights are left on in the patient's room or the lights are left on in the hallway, whether the TV is left on. Are there alarms going off in the background? Is someone coming in every 2 hours to turn them or check vital signs? Can that be changed? So those sorts of environmental things. And home environmental things might be more like, do you have a tendency to fall asleep with the TV on? If you have trouble falling asleep, are you lying in bed waiting for sleep to happen, or do you get up and do something else and then try again a little later? There's a variety of environmental things on both sides. After you address environmental factors, then in a hospital setting you need to look at, is there something with the medications we're using that may be keeping the person awake? Is there something about the timing of the medications we could change, or the dosages of the medications we could change? In a home setting, it may be, is there something about the substances a person is used to having, caffeine or alcohol, nicotine? Those things can all affect sleep. So you look at those things, and then the next step after those kinds of adjustments would be medications. For some people, rather than going with medications, we try other alternative approaches, of which acupuncture would be one example.
There's several factors that will affect sleep that cause people to have disturbed sleep after a brain injury. The brain injury itself can affect structures in the brain that help us maintain wakefulness or help us go to sleep. It can also affect hormonal imbalances or the appropriate balances for hormones in order for us to maintain our alertness or go to sleep. And people are in the hospital for long periods of time that maybe don't have windows, or they're woken up in the middle of the night, and so they get a little confused, and their clock, their internal clock is off. So they might be awake all day and sleep all night. So there are multiple factors. The hospital environment isn't necessarily set up for people to get sleep at the times that we normally sleep. So that combination of things can affect a person and can make them sleep at times that they shouldn't be sleeping when they should be awake. And obviously that's going to affect a person's recovery if they're not getting the right amount of sleep that they need.
I've always felt that a lack of good sleep, whether it's in traumatic brain injury or any other medical condition, certainly interferes with recovery. We don't understand sleep, since we spend a third of our lives approximately in that restorative stage of sleep, but we only understand parts of sleep. For example, if we do EEG monitoring, brainwave monitoring, we know certain waves are important. Do we clearly understand what sleep is doing? No. But we all know, whether we're on vacation or with jet lag, that if we're not sleeping, we become more confused, we're not as sharp, our memories are not as good, we're not as quick. Now you take that and compound it with someone who's had a brain injury, who may have some memory problems or agitation, and it just lowers those thresholds. It makes it much more difficult. So to put someone to sleep, to give them an adequate night's sleep, is crucial. And that starts in the intensive care unit. I feel one of the most important reasons why we see agitation in an intensive care unit is because of lack of good hours of sleep, because they're interrupted every hour or every 2 hours. When they get home, it's the same thing, whether they're at work, whether at school, whether they're newly recovered from their brain injury. That part has to be preserved. That part has to be carved out, as it were, to ensure a better day for that patient.
There are some really simple sleep strategies that we recommend for family members. You just have to kind of use your common sense. Definitely what we recommend is that people come up with a schedule for their sleep so that they have a sleep time, a time when they go to sleep in the evening or at night, so that they get a good night's sleep throughout the night. We recommend that they avoid a lot of caffeine. We recommend that they avoid a lot of fluids before they go to sleep so that they're not up all night going to the bathroom. We recommend that they avoid taking too frequent naps during the day. So while they may need some rest, they shouldn't necessarily change into their pajamas, lay down, shut all the lights off, that type of thing. Some other things that they can do to help them with sleep is just that. Turn off the lights. Don't have the TV going on. The bed should be used for sleep, and so you shouldn't be doing a lot of reading in bed. You should avoid that. During the day, you want to open the windows, open the shades so that the light comes in, so that you maintain alertness during the day. But at night, you want to close those shades, close those windows so you don't have a lot of noise or a lot of interruptions. Just make it something routine so that the person over time gets used to those routines and hopefully gets back to a more appropriate schedule. They also want to take a look with their physician to make sure that there aren't any medications that they might be taking that will keep them awake. Warm milk is a good idea too. Sometimes people enjoy that. If they've tried all these things and they still continue to have a difficult time going to sleep, then they should talk to their physician about medication management. But they shouldn't try to buy over-the-counter sleep aids because that can affect prescription medication that they're already on. They should always check with their healthcare professional to make sure that it's okay to take some of those over-the-counter medications.